The account in Genesis that human beings were created in the image of God has been a tantalizing idea for millennia, and we struggle to understand exactly what that means. For me, it is quite clear that we are different from animals. We are animals, we have the bodies of animals, but what is unique to us is creativity, rationality, morality, and the ability to experience God and to contain that within an organized and structured religion. Where did this religious impulse spring from in the evolution of animals to humans? It seems that Homo sapiens, our species, appeared in Africa some 100,000 years ago. And yet there's no evidence for a primitive religion until 40,000 years ago in Europe. So Homo sapiens had migrated to a new continent, 60,000 years had passed, and then suddenly a religious impulse flowered. And it flowered not by itself, but in combination of the Homo sapiens suddenly acquiring all sorts of new capacities. For the first time, it seems, a human, one of our ancestors, reached out and on the surface of a cave painted a picture of a symbol of a half animal, half human, something supernatural, something that was intended to convey something other than just where there's food to be found, where there's hunting grounds. And complicated symbols appear. And roughly at that time, language appears. This creativity, and at the same time, complex patterns of burial, with people burying their family members with items of food, of ornaments, as though they knew or believed that there was another life to come. So my interpretation of this is that what binds this all together is the sudden appearance of a new self-consciousness. Homo sapiens became Homo divinis, became a species that was able to understand itself, to be aware of itself, to step back from itself and look back and see itself for who it was. So this new self-awareness allowed symbols to develop, allowed language to flower, allowed creativity to flower. Interestingly, there's no evidence from looking at the skulls of Homo sapiens for a fundamental change in brain structure. There isn't a lobe of the brain that suddenly appeared. And actually I don't think that's surprising, because the time spans that we're talking about are really very slight in terms of evolution. Now I think what happened is that the brain suddenly acquired new complexity. Just as the potter could create from clay a vase or a complicated ornament or a lump of clay, so now what we have is the brain, structurally and materially the same, acquiring new complexity in terms of its connectivity and in terms of the way in which it worked within itself. Because what we've seen, what we understand about language and about creativity is it depends on complex interactions of different parts of the brain. And I think the religious impulse and religion itself are part of that complexity.